This episode of Weekly Spooky is brought to you by Boggy Creek, the series, free to watch on Tubi. Follow the exploits of Roger and Sarah, two researchers of the American Yeti Project, as they investigate Bigfoot and try to find proof positive of the legendary monster. But what other mysteries will they uncover in the mysterious backwoods of Boggy Creek? Starring Eric Roberts of The Dark Knight, Brink Stevens of Slumber Party Massacre, Mike Holinsky of Haunted House on Sorority Row, and Joni Durian of Babysitter Massacre. Bigfoot just might be the least of their worries as they encounter cursed scarecrows, serial killers, witches, dangerous bank robbers, and ruthless poachers, among many others. So check it out today, free to stream on Tubi. Boggy Creek, the series. Executive produced by Fred Olin Ray, and directed by Henrik Kuto. Hey, that's me.
What's that? You want to be scared? Come with me. You will experience tales of horror, ghosts, and death. It is not recommended for the weak at heart. Listen in the dark. It's more fun that way. This is Weekly Spooky.
Hello, my friends. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for a little spooky in your weekly. I'm your host and narrator, Henrik Kuto, and this week, we're going to the beach. That's right, time for some fun in the sun, and some deadly monsters for good measure, as our favorite master vampire takes a road trip from Strickfield, Ohio, to Shore City for a little R&R. But of course, things are never as simple as we'd like them to be. But before we get to that story, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We've been doing it now for nearly 3 years, and I sure do love it. So if you love it too, please just take a tiny moment and go to your favorite podcast app, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or whatever you dig listening on, and just leave us a star rating. It helps people find the show, and it costs you absolutely nothing. And if you want to take one step further into helping make sure every single week we bring the spooky, simply go to weeklyspooky.com and click on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, we can make sure the show keeps on rolling, and you get a bonus episode every single month. That's right, a whole other episode, exclusively on Patreon, along with lots of other perks. But it's about time we stop talking about Patreon and start talking about the sandy beaches that are awaiting us, because the weather's getting warmer. Oh, so warm. But the water is just fine, my friends. So get comfortable, get cozy, hang 10, and enjoy this story. Bella's Holiday by Rob Fields. And here we are. Aini and I just crossed into the huge megalopolis known as Shore City. You know what? I don't even think I remember the last time I was here. Let's just say I'd never even heard of Strickfield. Yeah, it's been that long ago. As far as the distance between Strickfield and Shore City, it's at least 500 miles. I've been driving our rental car since we left Strickfield. Aini's sitting next to me and giving me directions. After several long hours and some stops, we finally pull into the driveway of Grandma Donnerly's house. I get out of the car and look at my surroundings. I can see the beach as I look past Grandma Donnerly's. I can even hear the sounds of people having a good time. Aini comes up beside me. Bells, you okay? I sigh and look up at the sky. Why do I do it? Why do I let you talk me into doing shit? I turn to face her. First, I let you talk me into staying in Strickfield. Next, you and I both end up on the cheerleading squad at Strickfield High. And now that school's out for the summer, I let you talk me into coming all the way to Shore City for a week of vacation. Of all things. What's wrong with taking a vacation? Aini asks. I grab Aini and shake her a little. Because neither of us can fucking drive a car. I let her go. You're goddamn lucky I learned fast. We're really lucky we never got pulled over, and fuck all those speed limits. I sigh. The point is, I don't take vacations, Aini. I just don't. And here you are, she reminds me in her mousy voice. Why did I agree to drive us all the way to Shore City? 3 days ago, Aini's grandma calls her out of the blue and wants to see her. Right away, she asks her grandma if she can bring me along. She agrees right away, and things fell into place from there. Almost. Turned out neither of us ever learned how to drive a car. Aini tried calling a taxi service, but the trip would be quite costly. So Aini talked me into driving a rental car. Let's just say I had a few, close calls. Believe it or not, it's really quite easy when you get it down. It's just those fucking speed limits that piss me off. So I said fuck it, and got us here doing a full 100. Aini and I got our bags out of the car, and then the front door opens. Aileen, you finally made it. Aileen is Aini's real name. I call her Aini because her older brother Martin calls her Einstein on the count of her big brain. I just shorten Einstein by calling her Aini. She returns the favor by calling me Bells. Aini and her grandma hug. It's nice to see you again, Grandma. Grandma Donnerly is in her mid-60s and has a thin frame with silver hair. And you must be Bella. Aileen has told me so much about you. I was just going to shake hands with her, but she pulls me in and hugs me. When we finish, she just looks at me. You are so cold. Do you need some coffee or some hot chocolate? I smile a little. I'm fine, ma'am. Grandma Donnerly invites both of us inside. She's got the air conditioning running. She shows Aini to her room. As she's getting settled in, Grandma Donnerly brings me to the basement. I set you up down here. I hope you don't mind. I'm not choosy, I reply. Turns out she prepared a couch down here. It's nice and cool. There's even a small shower cabinet for me. It's perfect, I tell her, and put my duffel down. She nods and heads back upstairs. After I unpack, I come back upstairs to see the Donnerlys at the kitchen table. I'm entering the kitchen when Grandma Donnerly gasps. She points right at me. No! Grandma, what? Aini asks. The old woman gets up, still pointing at me. You don't have a reflection! And I had forgotten about checking for mirrors and avoiding them. This is part of the reason why I don't go on vacations. Now Aini's grandma knows I'm a vampire. You're a believer? I say. I've met your kind before, she replies, contempt in her voice. I revoke my invitation. Grandma, stop, Aini tells her. Bells isn't like other vampires. She's been my dearest friend for months. She considers Aini. Then she looks at me and makes another realization. You walk in the daylight? I'm the only one who can, I reply. When I killed a master vampire, I was hurt too. His blood mixed with mine and made me what I am. I'm not malevolent, and I won't hurt you. And you're friends with my grandbaby? She asks in amazement. Aini's my only friend, I admit. She talked me into coming here with her. If you don't want me here, I'll leave. I won't stay where I'm not welcome. Grandma Donnerly looks at her granddaughter. You said she was staying with you. And Martin, Aini adds. Grandma Donnerly really shows contempt now as she looks at me. Aileen told me you're Martin's girlfriend. Well, I wouldn't entirely say that, I stammer. She raises her finger. Break up with him. That boy has been nothing but trouble since he was old enough to walk and talk. If you don't know now, you'll know soon enough. I look at her solemnly. Is there something you want to tell me? She takes my hand in hers. You don't know Martin as well as you think. He can never stay out of trouble. He looks for any excuse to cause trouble. Kids at school called him Mean Martin, and with good reason. I won't let him come here. He's not welcome. He'll never be welcome. Break up with him. A leopard like him never changes his spots. I listen to her heartbeat and know she's telling the truth. I realize I'll have to watch Martin closely when I return to Strickfield. I'll have to talk to Einie about this later. Grandma Donnerly lets go of my hand. You may stay. I don't know how I'll feed you, though. I don't have any blood for you. I don't drink blood, I tell her. But you can't feed me anyway. I'll eat you out of house and home. Einie said there's plenty of good buffets I can eat at. I explained to Grandma Donnerly why I don't drink blood and how I have to eat lots of food to compensate for all the energy I use. Just the same, Grandma Donnerly insists on feeding me, even when I told her about how I devoured at least 20 roast chickens for my first meal as a vampire. I watch the Donnerlys talk some more. Grandma Donnerly tells Einie that she should just leave Strickfield and come move in with her. Leave Martin behind. Or if you don't want to live with me, you know you have other family here. You could even live with your 3 cousins. They have a house in this neighborhood. I'm sure they'd enjoy having you to live with them. The more I'm hearing the old woman talk negatively about Martin, the more I'm really wondering. Einie and I are walking out onto the beach now. Grandma Donnerly had to run some errands and said she'd be back in a while. We're both wearing bikinis and walking on the sand. Where do you want to set up, Bells? Einie asks. I guess anywhere's fine, I reply. Suddenly, my vampire senses make me raise my hand and snatch the volleyball that would have hit me in the back of the head. Then I turn around to see 3 girls heading our way. Yeah, that's our volleyball, bitch, the busty blonde snaps. You can give it back now, a busty brunette adds rudely. I raise an eyelid. Oh, you want this back, huh? A dark-skinned girl gets in my face. You hard of hearing, bitch? I smirk. You want this ball back. Well, go get it. Then I toss the ball up and give it a nice little love tap to send it flying way down the beach. The bitches turn around and race after it, screaming obscenities at me as they're leaving. You just know those girls are going to be back, Einie tells me. Fuck them. We walk again and find our spot to set up our beach towels, and then it's not long before we have another surprise. You! Einie shrieks. No way! You're here too, Aileen? The voice sounds familiar. I turn to see. How did you end up here? I ask Eddie Richter. He's known as Pee-wee in Strickfield athletics. Eddie gawks. Bella Tabon? You too? You know Einie and I are joined at the hip, I joke. Eddie laughs a little. Then he points in a direction. My buddy's parents have a place here. They said he could use it whenever he wanted, so we came over here and hit the beach after school was out for the summer. Why'd you two come here? Einie explains that her grandma invited her to come over, and she invited me to come with her. Just then, Eddie's friends approach him. They're all at least a head taller than him. Guess he's nicknamed Pee-wee for a reason. For a mortal, he's impressed me with what a fast little fucker he is. The other boys recognize us from the Strickfield High cheerleading squad and invite us to play volleyball with them. So it's 3 jocks and 1 cheerleader to a team. We play volleyball for a while. Then some storm clouds quickly gather. The winds pick up and it starts raining. Some people run to take shelter while others just stay on the beach. And then the screaming starts. I turn and run in the direction people are running away from. The water. When I get there, I see a body's washed up onto the sand. I get on one knee and examine it. I'm already seeing things here that tell me I've got work to do here in Shore City. Through my vampire hearing, I can hear Aine's little feet as she's almost on me. Bells, what? Oh, do you know what that is? This is easily a werewolf attack. I point to the bite marks. 3 of them for sure. And last night was the first night of the full moon. 2 more nights, Aine deduces. Tonight and tomorrow night. Right. That means we don't have much time to get to the bottom of this. I point to the fangs. This person was a vampire. Human fangs aren't normally this long. Some police officers come along and rudely tell us to fuck off. I watch them look at the body and laugh to myself as they'll try and fail miserably to determine the cause of death. They won't find the vampire teeth since I snatched them up. Don't need mortals asking questions they shouldn't be asking. What's on your mind, Bells? Aine asks. I'm thinking those werewolves will be back tonight. Maybe a nice walk on the beach is in order. Then I raise my eyebrow to her a little. Did you happen to bring the toys? Aine gives me a wicked smirk. I always bring the toys. Aine's been my partner in crime for a while now. We do our day stuff. At night, we go out looking for trouble. We often find trouble and stop it. Then we return home. Aine goes to bed. I fuck Martin. Still remembering what Grandma Donnerly told me. I may have to rethink that last part. Aine, are there any problems between you and Martin? I ask. Aine just gives me a sad look. Grandma talked to you, didn't she? You were there. She told me Martin is trouble. She didn't say what. She also said Martin wasn't welcome at her house. She told me to stop seeing him. Aine gets defensive. You and Martin just have sex. You're not really in a relationship with him. I groan. I was hoping to get something out of Aine, but I can see she's not going to tell me anything. Her heartbeat tells me she's very angry. I can't tell if I've upset her or if it's something she's keeping inside. I won't use glam on her. If she wants to tell me, then she'll tell me when she's ready. Night comes. Aine and I put our bikinis back on and head to the beach. It's so easy to get onto the sand from Grandma Donnerly's backyard. Speaking of whom, I can't believe she prepared all that food just for me. I did tell her I could eat. The least I could do was help with the dishes, since she wouldn't accept payment. There were some kids out here, though not nearly as many as during the day. The full moon is nice and bright. There's a gentle breeze and the water's a little wavy. As long as I see people I've come in contact with, then I scratch them off as suspects. Werewolves can't change back and forth at will. When it's a full moon, they change whether they want to or not. The werewolves are already out and prowling. I managed to get faint scents off the body from this afternoon. Won't be much to go on, but it's better than nothing. You think we'll find anything, Bells? Aine asks. I'm quite optimistic, I reply. Bella, Aileen, over here, a voice calls out. We look to see Eddie Richter sitting at a fire on the sand and walk over to him. Just you out here tonight? I ask him. My buddies went back to the house, Eddie replies. They forgot something, didn't say what. Have a seat. We sit with Eddie and talk with him. You know, it's a shame you two graduated, Eddie tells us. I kinda liked watching you two on the squad. We'll be back, Aine replies. I missed too many days with being sick this school year, and Bells just didn't feel like coming to school, I pick up. So I got a repeat senior year with Aine. The truth is, I had to care for her when she was sick and Martin had to work. Eddie smirks and shakes his head a little. The bad schoolgirl. A name that pretty much every student calls me. To be honest, I really like it. Bad as I want to be, honey, I reply. He fully smiles now. No wonder Principal Van Diest is always riding you. I fully smile back, only for me to keep throwing him off. You ain't taming this bitch. The three of us talk some more, and then I catch whiffs of those faint smells I got earlier. Now I'm hearing some screaming. I turn and see 3 werewolves have hit the beach. Einie grabs Eddie. Come on, we gotta run. The 2 of them get away. Then I run towards the werewolves, vamping out as I do. I'm so looking forward to this. I fucking hate werewolves. The werewolves howl at the full moon and then come at me. These beasts are going to be strong, but I can match power with them. I can beat the living shit out of all of them. These fuckers keep trying to bite me, but I just keep knocking their asses back. I'm fucking loving this. Most importantly, I'm keeping their attention on me while other mortals are getting away. In their animal minds, all they want to do is tear me apart. Unless they're seriously hurt, they know they're dying, or they know sunrise is coming, they're gonna keep coming after me as prey. Well, they did come right for me. That means I met and pissed off somebody here in Shore City. I'm already compiling a list of suspects I've come across. Guess I'm gonna have some work to do tomorrow during the daylight hours. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Why the hell didn't I just kill those motherfuckers? Yes, they'd turn back into their human forms immediately, but I wouldn't get the whole story, so it looks like I'm gonna have to do the next best thing. As my new playmates come at me again, I strike with a little more force and knock their asses out. Now comes the not-so-fun part. The waiting game. I guess I can enjoy the view of the water and feel the gentle breezes while I'm waiting. Time to use some of Einie's toys. I pull out some special zip ties she made in her mad scientist lab back at her house, in her basement. These particular zip ties are really high tensile strength. You can't get these at your local hardware store. They're strong enough to piss off these werewolves once I apply them. Einie keeps improving on the formula, so I imagine it's only going to be a matter of time before these things can secure even me, or other master vampires. As I'm about to secure the first werewolf, my senses go critical. I don't have time to react as a silver werewolf crashes into me and takes me down. Those other 3 were easy to take on, but this one is an alpha. You don't see too many of these around, due to the fact that they don't last as long as vampires. But here's one now, pissed off as fuck. The 2 of us fight it out. When the other werewolves come to, the distraction is enough for the alpha to hit me hard enough to daze me. I barely feel the alpha getting on top of me before I hear the gunshots. Oh yeah, I guess they understand gunshots also, especially with the whole silver bullets thing. I wake up and find myself down in Grandma Donnerly's basement. Einie's right there with me. Bells? You're finally awake. Yeah, she's quite happy right now. Yeah, I got lucky, I reply. You missed it. I tell her about the alpha werewolf that showed up. So, you're saying werewolves are like vampires? The older they get, the more powerful they become? She translates. Pretty much, yeah. Given the strength and speed of the alpha and the silver coat, this one's been around for a very long time. Then Einie's quick on something else. We only have one more night, Bells. Tonight. I know. I may have my work cut out for me. And maybe not. You have suspects? She asks. Perhaps. We gotta be beach babes again today, Einie. You up for it? Einie glares at me. I am not a beach babe. Look at me. I'm a scrawny little thing. I smirk and look my friend in the face. I think Eddie Richter would disagree. He's definitely into you. Einie gasps. Oh no, Bells, don't you dare. We argue about it for a little bit. Then I compliment Einie on her cute little face and tell her that having bigger tits isn't always better. I mean, I certainly don't have them myself. She finally lets her guard down and agrees to come on the beach with me. One more time. After breakfast, we step onto the sand again in our bikinis. See, Einie, there are plenty of guys checking you out, I say. No, they're checking you out, Bells, she disagrees. I'm not the one with the flowing long blonde hair and sexy body. Watch and learn. Throughout the day, Aini realizes that I'm not the only one people are checking out. When I ask her to get lemonade for us at a stand, she's quickly surprised that guys are hitting on her. Aini's got a thin frame, but she's not a skeleton. She's also got that cute face and great smile. And no, I definitely did not glam these guys. Aini returns with the lemonade. You were right, Bells. She sits down. But I just can't go out with anybody. I just can't. I don't have a long-term future with anybody. I smile. Aini, you'll make someone a perfect wife. She gets upset fast. You don't understand. Maybe these other people can think long-term. I can't. I'm about to ask her why when my senses flare up. I easily lift my hand and snatch the volleyball that was intended to hit me again. I stand up and face those 3 bitches from yesterday. You know, you 3 seem to have a difficult time keeping your fucking ball to yourselves. Now I'm making calculations in my head. I'm also picking up some familiar scents. Just then, we're joined by Eddie Richter and his friends. It doesn't take long for the beach bitches and the Strickfield jocks to get into it, with Aini and me caught in the middle. And then it happens. We end up in a full-scale volleyball game. It's Eddie, his friends, and me on one side. The bitches demand to have Aini on their side and get one more girl to come and join them. Believe me when I say we don't end up playing a friendly game of volleyball. The 3 bitches are clearly targeting me and Eddie. It surprises me how they're talking so nicely to Aini, like she's always been one of them. In fact, they even tell her their names. But Aini and the other girl are the only ones who play fair on their side. The bitches get really pissed off when they try to put the ball over the net, and I'm right there to slam it down to the sand. Yeah, I'm using my vampire strength, but fuck these bitches. I've been watching these big breasties closely. In fact, I think I've just broken this mystery wide open. I know what's going on now. We win the game and Eddie and his friends take off. The bitches quickly move and come at me. You don't belong here, you fucking leech. Lila, the big-breasted blonde, snaps in my face. This is our turf. Go home. I smirk. You 3 can suck my dick, and I'll fucking piss where I please. I lean in and look Lila right in the face. Or did you 3 already mark your territories? Raylene, the big-breasted brunette, glares at me now. Tonight, vampire. The dark-skinned girl, Ember, practically growls at me. You're dead, bloodsucker. Challenge accepted, I reply. Coming, Aini? The bitches are reluctant to let Aini come with me, but she makes that choice herself and comes to me. The 2 of us leave. Bells? What's going on? Aini asks when we're far enough away. Raylene called you a vampire. Oh, they know. And I know. The problem is, I know everything now. I look at her with sadness. You're not going to like what I'm about to tell you. As soon as we get in the house, Aini points right at Grandma Donnerly. What in the actual fuck have you been keeping from me? I know Aini well enough to know she's really pissed off when she starts dropping F-bombs. Then Grandma Donnerly gives me an accusing look. What did you tell her, vampire? I glare at her. The truth. Aini tightens her little fists. Grandma Donnerly, I really thought I could trust you. I really thought you cared. That's why I kept in contact with you. That's why I kept coming to see you. Because I love you, Helene, she replies. I just want you to leave that troublesome Martin. Seriously, I don't know why you stay with him. I know he's your brother and the last in your immediate family. He's also the reason you're... Werewolves! Aini screams. You want to turn me into a werewolf? You want to turn me into a killer? She calms down a little. Oh, and I did meet Lila, Raylene, and Ember, Bells told me they're my cousins. And they're werewolves too. Grandma Donnerly glares at me with hatred now. I revoke my invitation, Bella. You are no longer welcome in my house. I hate to tell you, but all the vampire weaknesses you know about won't work on me. Or did you forget that I walk in the daylight and eat normal food? In other words, I don't need an invite to enter a person's house. Just then, Lila, Raylene, and Ember appear. Lila points at me. You've caused nothing but trouble ever since you got here, vampire. It's no wonder that vampires and werewolves are natural enemies. I quickly pull Aini behind me. I'm not the one killing people here. In fact, I save lives. I may be a master vampire, but I'm still a Tabon. It's still the family business to take down threats against mortals. You killed people here, and I can't let that slide. There are no good vampires, Ember counters. It's because of you that our kind can't flourish. Then I realize it's dark. The full moon will be evident soon. Just give me my grandbaby and your death will be swift, Grandma Donnerly tells me. No, I won't do this, Aini tells her. I won't become a killer. I'll die first. Raylene gasps. Aileen, you're our blood. You'd choose this vampire filth over your own family? Aini tightens her jaw. Bells is my family, and she doesn't kill innocent people. I had to admit I never saw that coming. Wow. I never knew Aini thought so highly of me. We've been friends for several months and I can't get choked up right now. Grandma Donnerly tells her other granddaughters, I want this vampire destroyed. I do not want Aileen harmed. Maybe just a little scratch. Do you hear me? Yes, Grandma Donnerly, the bitches say in unison. The full moon is evident when the four of them start changing into werewolves. I turn quickly, snatch up Aini, and get us the fuck out of that house. I don't take us back to the beach since I can hear mortals there. No, I need to keep this between me and them. Bells, don't let them turn me, Aini cries. Over my fucking dead body, I promise her. I can hear the werewolves pursuing us. They have our scents. I have to stay ahead of them until I can get us far away from other mortals. I can leap far distances, and I can even run very fast, faster than even Pee Wee Richter on his best day. But a werewolf would still ultimately catch up to me. Sucks to be me, and not able to fly. I manage to make it to some open wilderness where we can fight. When I land, I let go of Aini and get ready. Both werewolves and vampires have night vision. I don't know how theirs works, but for me, the darkness is still daylight. The four werewolves are on me now. Grandma Donnerly herself's gotta face me head on, instead of going cheap like last time. I can still knock her away, but she recovers a lot faster than her granddaughters. Aini throws me her backpack. Bells! Use the toys! I open it and pull out the launchers that she made for when we face other vampires. Aini and I did make a little swap in these this afternoon. I quickly secure them to my forearms as I'm running. When I have them on, I turn and face the werewolves. Aini comes up beside me with her own launchers. Like I said, this mousy girl is my partner in crime. Aini also has her night vision glasses on. We both take aim and fire. Ember and Lila both fall when we sink silver stakes right through their hearts. I turn and fire my other one at Raylene to kill her. Now that just leaves Grandma Donnerly. I put Aini behind me and prepare to fight her, but Aini moves in front of me. This is my fight, Bells. I raise my hands in front of me and back off. Aini aims her last silver stake. This really hurts, Grandma. I know you probably don't understand me right now. She shakes her head a little. I can't be like you. I know I'll die one day, but I'm not going to be a killer just to live. Be at peace, Grandma. I love you. As Grandma Donnerly turns to jump at me, Aini leaps in front of me and puts her down. The silver werewolf falls onto her side. After Einie and I get up, we see the werewolves are becoming human again. Einie and I work to make sure they never return to life ever again. Einie and I are on our way back to Strickfield. Einie's still very sad. Not that I blame her. There are things I really want to ask her. I'm sorry, Einie, I say. About everything. Einie takes my hand. I still choose you, Bells. At least I always know where I stand with you. You're always honest with me. Grandma Donnerly kept horrible secrets from me. Then I have an opening. Honesty works both ways, you know. She sighs. I want to tell you everything. It still hurts me to think about it. Please, not now. I will tell you, just not now. I squeeze Einie's hand. You tell me when you're ready then. Einie nods. I know from now on, I'm going to be watching Martin more closely. In the meantime, I'm driving 100 miles per hour back to Strickfield. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I wanted a little bit of spring and summertime fun. And of course, Rob Fields delivered, as he always does. And I really enjoyed getting to hear about Bella Tabon hanging 10. Or, really in this case, hanging 4 werewolves out to dry. So, thank you all so much for listening. That was a really fun one. And we have a lot more awesome scary stories coming up for you next week and beyond, because of course it wouldn't be your weekly without some spooky. So, and speaking of, I want to say a gigantic, humongous thank you to our Patreon backers. This is the biggest month we've ever had on Patreon. Over 84 backers. Thank you so much. But can we get to 100 by the end of the year? That's what I want so badly for the show. And believe me, we'll make it worth your while. This Halloween and Christmas season is going to be incredible right here on Weekly Spooky. But speaking of thank yous to the patrons, I want to say an extra special thanks to our Patreon podcast boosters, folks who pay just a little bit extra to hear their names on the show. And they are Christopher Sullivan, Gino Lyons, Karen Ouimet, Jack Kerr, Jeff and George Hilton, Craig Cohen, and Kevin Fry. Thank you all so much for helping me do this every single week. It really means the world to me. I have so much fun reading these terrifying stories and working with such talented authors. So, anyway, my friends, I think it's about time I make friends with my air conditioner because it's getting pretty spicy outside. I hope you're all staying well and staying cool. I'll be right here next week, and don't forget, if you subscribe to our Patreon at weeklyspooky.com, you get a brand new bonus episode every month. But anyway, for our executive producer Rob Fields, for my producer Dan Wilder, and my composer Ray Mattis, I will talk at you next week.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to find your way back next week. But for now, you are safe. Trust me.